Welcome, welcome, welcome. A beautiful day that we have. April is always beautiful. The weather is always cool. So I want to welcome all of us to the Aviation Business Series, where we expand knowledge, we explore opportunities, and celebrate milestones. Today, I have my great gentleman with me once more, and we are here because we want to know the way forward. Last week, if you joined us, you remember that we spoke about the challenges and the areas that needs attention. But today, we are here to speak about the way forward. What specific attention does this industry need? And that is what my gentlemen are going to help me to discuss. I am joined in by Mr. Ebukwesin. He has always been with us. You know him to be a banker and an aviation enthusiast. I'm also joined in by Mr. Emmanuel Fempon, who is the General Secretary for GATOF. So he's a good man with a lot of experience in the travel industry to also help us. We might have one more person joining us, Mr. Dominic Ando. But till then, let's see what we can do. So I'm so glad to have you, gentlemen. Great, great, great. Okay, so the previous week we spoke about the challenges when it comes to policy, when it comes to infrastructure, and a couple of things, especially leadership that also came in. And today we want to look at the way forward. Now that we know some of the challenges, how then do we position ourselves to do better in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human capacity, and the like? So I would start with Mr.
A very good morning to all our viewers and listeners. We are happy to be back again. Last week, we looked at a number of things that the industry is facing as far as doing our best is concerned. We are challenged with a number of things, but this show is not about talking about just problems, but we believe that we also have the solutions within us. So this morning, we are looking at some of the challenges that we spoke about last week and what are the things that we are supposed to do to mitigate those challenges. So if you look at in most of our hotels, especially the budget hotels and then the 1 and then 2-star, that's where usually you have the problem. And then again, those who also sell on the roadside, they are also supposed to improve the quality of service. So what GTA, in collaboration with Ghana Tourism Federation, and of course, the government of Ghana, that is the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, is doing is to help build the capacity of most of us. Yesterday and the day before yesterday, we were in Dodowa, but we came back late. Curriculum of most of our tourism and hospitality schools, how to improve it, and it was sponsored by ILO. So we're there with CODVET and then TVET, some of the TVET lecturers. So we are looking at how to improve on our service. And then we also spoke about our infrastructure. If you look at the roads leading to most of our attraction sites, they are very bad, very, most of them are bad. So we are pushing from the private sector point of view, we are pushing for government to look at most of the roads and see how we can work on them and improve on our infrastructure, toilet facilities, even internet connectivity, the kind of even transportation that we use. We cannot continue to use, I'm sure we will go there, we cannot continue to use road. We have to explore railway. How do we do it? We have a railway line that is being constructed from Tema to Akosombo over 4 years now. How far have we gone? Is that the only railway we can really construct? What are the other options? We're told of airports in Cape Coast. Is it a reality? Is it something that we can do? If it's something that we can do and something we have to do, how do we I'm sure my colleague, Mr. Quason, would also have something to add to it, and then we continue from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like the way we are hearing about a new thought of transport, which is the rail, because we can't keep on relying on one particular type of transport and believe that we will grow as a country. So I like the thought, and I also like what TVET is doing with GATOF to build the capacity of trainers and then the schools. So well done, well done. It's always some more development for us to change over and do better.
So I'll start from a bit from what Mr. Frimpong said. So on the tourism side, for example, in terms of service quality and related services. So if I take, unfortunately, we don't have a national airline, but at least we have two domestic operators, one of which operates within the sub-region. So we expect that, for example, the two airlines in their marketing efforts, they would try and link their destinations to tourism sites. So for example, if I buy a ticket from Passion or Africa World, on the ticket, somewhere on the ticket, they should tell me that if I'm going to Kumasi, these are the possible destinations I should visit, tourist sites to look at. If I'm going to Tamale, these are the possible tourist sites I should look at. It should be a deliberate cross-selling approach, so that even if, so for people who go to, let's say, Tamale or Takrady or Kumasi, and they are spending 2 days or more after work, they will make some time to do 1 or 2 tourist sites. And I think that when we do that, that makes that grows the tourism industry like we want it to do. And then also we're also creating traffic for the airlines at the same time. On the issue of other means of transport, I agree with him absolutely. So for example, aside the fact that I could travel to Kumasi or Takrady or Tamale by air, if I also had a train, an overnight trip, for example, you get to see parts of Ghana. So in a train, for example, you go through forest, you go through major rivers, lakes, and this will be part of like a guided tour. So those things are relevant. And like you said, the quicker we do these things, I think the better it is for all of us. In terms of other things that we can do, so we've done tourism, we've done another thing that I think Ghana, for example, quickly look at is to quickly seize the space and become. I mean, we've said it a couple of times, but we need to be the aviation hub for West Africa, not by action and not by words. So if you go to Ethiopia and Kenya, for example, they have Boeing aircraft service facilities there. I don't think Boeing has anything like that in Africa. So quickly, if we can position ourselves to be Airbus and Boeing service facilities for West Africa, that is another area where it brings business and traffic to Accra. So any aircraft within the West or Central African region, whether it's Boeing, whether it's Airbus, whether it's Embraer, if there has to be some first line maintenance checks, once you have that facility there, it comes here and it's extra revenue, it's extra business, extra employment for Ghanaians. So I think that's another thing that we should look at, and that this should be done very quickly. It doesn't have to be government. We can do it with the private investors.
Thank you so much. I just really like the part where you spoke about the maintenance facility, because there comes a time that our skill set is a bit limited because we end up doing some parts of aviation work, but we don't do the totality. And so when investors come in and we have these facilities, it allows us to actually explore and to expand our skill set. So it's a great idea. Now, my next question though is, we have all these ideas, okay, but how then do we push it onto the table for the discussion to happen? because you, myself, Mr. Frimpong, and many others like us have many ideas, have spoken on other platforms, but yet still we end up not seeing these ideas being implemented. So I'm wondering, how then do we get these ideas onto the real discussion table, not the other ones, the real discussion table, the table that makes the decision?
I think two things. There are more, but I will speak about two things, and then probably Mr. Kwesen will take it from there. The first one has to do with real commitment, not just talking about it. Most often, I mean, if you look at the country Ghana, it is one of the countries that has policies on everything, not just policies, excellent policies. But when it comes to implementation, we are not interested in implementing what we put on paper. So yes, we put everything on paper, but when it comes to the commitment to implement what we put on the paper, we don't do it. And I honestly don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why we are not interested in implementation. So that is one. We are not very much interested in implementation. Again, the second thing that I think is the reason is that those of us also in the private sector or in the business of advocacy, we are not pushing our leaders enough. We don't tell them that, look, I pay my taxes, I do A, B, C, D. You said you would do this, you haven't done it. Why have you not done it? We don't make them responsible for anything. So it is easy for them to say, I'll create an ocean or a sea in let's say Ashanti region where there is no sea. A politician can say that, and he's free to go. Nobody will ask him, how are you going to do it? What are the resources that you have available to do this? So it is easy for our leaders to promise and not deliver, and nobody will ask them anything. But if we were to put them on their toes and constantly be on their heads that we don't like A, B, C, D, you need to change this. You said you do this. The money is there. Why are you not doing this? Look at the marine drive. Since 1960s, we talked about it. 3 years ago, a sword was cut. We're told the funds has been secured. We have investors, we have everything, yet we are still sitting down. Nobody is doing anything. Nobody is asking the right questions. So to me, these are two of the reasons. I'm sure Mr. Kwesen would have a few to add to it.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So for me, I'll say it's advocacy. So Aviation Business Series is one such platform, and if you look at YouTube and on Facebook, at least the platform gives a good area for policymakers to pick ideas from. Another thing that we could also do is so for some of us who write articles. So I do an article in Daily Graphic, I do an article in BFT. Definitely it will catch the eye of policymakers as well. And fora where these things are being discussed is also a good place to associate yourselves to get your views heard. And then for people like us who do articles in Daily Graphic, BFT, it's also an avenue where you can also share ideas and press home the need to enforce and use some of these policies to achieve what we intend to do as a country.
Well noted. Thank you so much. Now, I have another question that links up to what we just spoke about, where I'm wondering if it is the duty of the government to find people to implement these ideas, or private stakeholders can actually bid to implement these ideas. Do we have avenues like that?
The government has to create an enabling environment for this thing to happen. So first of all, how easy is it for a private investor to come in in a legitimate manner to start new business. Once these things are there, there's a name for it. I think doing business in Ghana index or something of the sort. There's some measure like that. But once that thing is there, so for example, that is where Registrar General and GIPC will come in. Once this can be done in a seamless, hassle-free manner, the climate is good enough for a private investor to come, because it will be involving. If we say we are going to set up, for example, the maintenance facilities, that is a lot of money being sunk. But if a private investor who has money, has the correct links, has the right funding, is willing to do it, and you give the necessary legitimate concessions, etc., then that is how we should go about it. But for the government to say they want to do it themselves, I think Mr. Frimpong has said it earlier, it will be at snail's pace, and it may not happen in our lifetime.
It may not happen in our lifetime. That is a serious one. Mr. Frimpong, please add up if you would want to.
Government has no business doing business. And what the government has to really do is to create the enabling environment, as Mr. Kwesen has just said. And because if you take road facilities, electricity, water, no private investor would be interested to provide these facilities because it's quite expensive. So the government has to come in and provide those basic amenities for the private investor to come in. When that is created, then you see people coming in to invest. Then the other thing has to do with the way businesses are registered, and the way we also have to, for instance, if you have to register a business in Ghana, now that they are even saying it is easy, it is straightforward, it will take you not less than 6 weeks to register a business in Ghana. I'm telling you. And the kind of thing that you still have to go through, if you want to register a business in Rwanda, whether you are a Rwandan or any other country, within 6 hours, you can register a business in Rwanda. You don't even have to be in the country. You can be anywhere in the world and you register a business there. It is simple. If you want to register a business in Dubai, simple, straightforward. But ours, we've made it so difficult. So the private investor, every step on the way, it is so difficult. People want to take advantage of you. There are even government officials. If you want to invest in the country, they are asking for 10%, 15%, 20% of the capital that you want to invest before they give you the necessary document or support for you to invest. And we have evidences there. So it becomes extremely difficult for anybody to invest. If you want to build a hotel in Ghana, we used to have some rebates, but now even to get that rebate, it is so difficult. If you wanted to import cars to come and do travel and tour, those things, we used to have a rebate, a tax holiday, something, but now it is no more there. So it is extremely difficult for the investor to invest in all those things before you actually do whatever you want to do. So the government has to create that enabling environment, and the private sector will come in. There are thousands of people who want to invest in Ghana, but because of the impediments that we put on their way, we are able to take away these restrictions. People are ready to invest. Ghana is a good place to invest. The environment is good, but the way we've made things is making it hard for the private investor to invest in the country.
Well said. I'm really hoping that as we discuss these issues, it will get to the right source and we'll see some action. But I like what is happening because you just came back from Rwanda. And so it's so fresh on you that there is another way of doing things and it's faster, more efficient. And so you want it here.
Yes. Most of the things we have to, because they have done it. Why not us? It's possible. It's all about leadership. Everything is leadership. If the leader is committed, everything will fall in its place.
I understand Rwanda even came here to study our tax system.
Oh, yes. They came here to study a lot of things. They brought a lot of their young people to come and study here. Some are still here. So they pick most of the things from us. Most of the things. They respect Ghana. Yes, because we are not ready to do it. Corruption is almost zero there. People are not interested in corruption. And they see the country as their own. So they want to do everything to make sure that the country progresses. But us, any opportunity anybody gets, the person wants to reach himself first.
Now, this is going to be a little shift from what we are speaking about, but the issue of value system where we were not like this before. We used to be very patriotic as a people. And now things have changed. Almost everybody knows that where we are heading towards, if we continue with our character and attitude, it will not help us. Now, as people in the industry, how then do we begin to create a new subculture of less corruption, a new subculture of being courageous enough to take some of these initiatives and push them? Because we have so much on paper, but we don't push. How do we then start this new subculture?
I don't know if Mr. Kwesi would like to take it first.
Okay, so for me, I think we've answered the question in part in the earlier submission from Mr. Frimpong, but is an issue of mindset, is an issue of your personal value system as an individual. Then also from the national or the government side, I think that's where the National Commission for Civic Education comes in. So right from maybe GHS, if students, there's a curricula that tells you that it is good to be nationalistic, it is good to be hardworking, it is good to do things with Ghana in mind, not being individualistic. So what John F. Kennedy said, that ask for what you can do for your country and not what the country can do for you. If we have that sense of attitude, then some of these things will be reduced to the barest minimum. Of course, we'll have one or two deviants here and there, but largely because of the fact that the student or the child was brought up with this mindset from the early stages, it sticks with them. So same with China, for example. In China, if you are found to be corrupt, you'll be lucky to have a jail sentence. Most likely you may be executed. We may not need to go to that extreme of execution, but once it's in that, it's in your mental faculty that these are the possible implications for my actions, it serves as a deterrent. So I think that's where we should be looking at inculcation from early childhood, strong marketing campaigns, visibility by NCC in that regard.
Thank you for that. Mr. Frimpong, would you want to add that?
Now, if you listen to the issue that happened this week about the two teenagers killing a 9-year-old child for ritual purposes to get money. And then you look at the way in this country, somebody becomes a politician today, give the person 3 months, 1 year, and the person has become a millionaire all of a sudden. And then you look at the way we even also pay our workers. Yesterday, when we were at the meeting, people were complaining about the fact that number of people that are employed in the tourism hospitality industry, they don't stay, they leave. Then I asked them, how much do you pay them? If you employ a front desk person and you pay the person 600 cedis, 700 cedis, less than $200 a month, how do you want the person to survive? The person will definitely steal from you. So we have a culture of taking advantage of each other. And we don't also talk about nationalism in our schools now. So when we used to have schools, public schools, where we have people coming from different backgrounds, all of us together, now we have more private schools, and the private schools see themselves as better than the public schools. So what happens? I went to better school, so I have to get better salary. I look down upon you. So if I also get opportunity, I want to be like you. So the system that we are creating, people have money in our societies. We don't even ask how they got the money from. The police, how do we recruit police personnel, military? I mean, the system starts from somewhere. Enrich yourself in a matter of months, in a matter of a year or two, you have to build a house. So these are the things that as a nation, we have to sit down and begin to ask ourselves, where have we come from? Where are we going?
This is so great. I wish we were not ending, but we have to draw the curtains here and look forward to having you for a very different session. This time is going to be more a bit different. I don't want to spill the beans now, so but let's get some final opinions when it comes to the way forward. Do we have a national plan that really talks about tourism, aviation, and hospitality? And if we don't have, what do you have to say about it?
Okay, so national policy, as we alluded to last week, we don't have one. What we have is disjointed policies that we need to put them together and have a national policy as to where we are going. On Tuesday, Wednesday, a few of us will be away from Accra to go and look at domestic tourism policy that Ghana has to adopt and then implement, because we realize that COVID has exposed us. We need to focus more on domestic tourism and intra-Africa tourism. But we don't have any policy, we don't have any strategy as to how we have to do it. So we are starting from there, and gradually, the disjointed policies that we have, hopefully we can bring them together and then have one national tourism policy that will help the nation to move forward, as we desire to have tourism and hospitality to be number one GDP earner for the country. So we are putting something together.
Great to know. Well done.
Thank you.
Mr. Payson, something to add up?
So, yes, on my part, I think I'll re-emphasize the fact that I said, like I said. So it is very clear that transport, aviation, I mean, good correlation to show that it helps development and it can grow economies. And the last time I gave examples of Singapore Airlines and Singapore, Emirates and Dubai. To some extent, Ethiopian Airlines and Ethiopia. I mean, if you look at Central Eastern, Central Africa, look at how Ethiopian Airlines has positioned themselves as a hub. So for most people who are traveling to China, if they don't go through Dubai, they will probably go through Addis Ababa before. So it is very clear that if we are drawing up a strategy and we want to make aviation and tourism together as a growth engine for the economy, it is possible. some countries have done it. We also need to do it as we speak. From late 2019 into before COVID started, Rwanda had started discussions with Qatar Airways. So Qatar, Qatar has a big challenge from Emirates as far as getting into Africa is concerned. So what they are doing is Qatar will buy a minority stake into Rwanda Air, as well as the new airport that they are building a new airport in the Kigali. They are also funding that. So once you have a good selling proposition, you will get investors coming in there. You also get, if you look at Qatar, they will come with the latest aircraft technology, etc. So these are the things that we should be positioning ourselves so that we can tap from and grow quickly. And it should be a deliberate policy and deliberate efforts.
Thank you so much, my gentlemen. So much great ideas that I believe if we decide to take one or two or even all the ideas and push, there will be a big difference in our sector in the next year and the following, and consistently we will do better. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for pouring out so much knowledge and for sharing with us. Hope to see you very soon.
Thank you too for having us.
Thank you and enjoy your weekend.
Okay, so if you were able to stay with us throughout the period, we just want to say thank you for staying with us. We hope that the shared ideas would also ginger you up to begin to think about how to make things different in your own sector, especially in your small corner. Believe you me, if you start from your end, there will be a bigger difference in the whole aviation and tourism sector as well. So thank you for watching the Aviation Business Series, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.